Hey, ladies and gentlemen. I am here today and I am just getting myself prepared here. We were supposed to have a drummer on today. Michael Carvin, but he couldn't make it. So, sometimes that happens. Um, like my gig last night, I showed up at my gig, which was so much fun, and and it was in Reseda in LA. And let me just get here. I got here. Okay. So anyway, it was in LA, and this place is really fun. It's an old bar, old, and it's always had jazz, and it's always had very straight ahead jazz, and so I do this gig once a month, and it's just so much fun. Usually the musicians are guys that I played with, 30 years ago or so, and I sing a lot of standards and a few other things, but it's just fun, and the crowd is really comfortable. And anyway, the guitar player John Chiodini, he kind of the wires got crossed, and he had eye surgery, and he was sitting at home healing. So we had no guitar player, but that was okay. So first I am going, hi Joyce. I did not get to play music with David Amram while I was on the East Coast, but I did hang out. It was a dinner social hang, and it was great. Hi, Steph. Follow that that link that I sent you in your messages, and that will bring you onto Zoom, and then I will let you into Zoom. Okay. So I have to just start off this session with just the shocking news that the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. And I won't say much about it, I promise. I'm going to move on to music, because music heals. And so that's what we're going to do. We are going to heal today. But I just have to say that it's freaky, really freaky. So it's like science fiction. This time in life is so interesting. I wonder if other people at other times in our history felt so amazingly blown away. I'm sure they did in particular situations. I know of several that I've read about that really made me feel really blown away for them. But I want to encourage people to vote in November and to work towards helping to make more people aware of the need and the ability to get Roe versus Wade as a federal law, which means that the Supreme Court cannot do anything about that. Actually, I was really impressed with Biden's speech today. I thought he covered pretty much everything. And you could tell he was, he really knew about the information. So, yeah, Joyce, right? Incredible. So let's try not to, we'll try and concentrate on the music. Let me send this link to my friend Stephanie Nakasian, who's in town again. She's actually in town to see. Yeah, it's there. Follow the link. So anyway, maybe I should send it to her in email. We're going to talk about the musicians that I saw while I was gone on the East Coast. Link one more time. There you go, Steph. And I just had some really great musicians I saw, I heard, I experienced. And I wanted to introduce you if you didn't know them, or just share if you did know them. Just doing my last minute stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to start without Steph here, but she'll probably be on soon. Anyway, her daughter, Veronica Swift. Yep, her daughter is Veronica Swift. She's at the Hollywood Bowl tomorrow night. So Steph came to see that. Here we go. Here's Steph. Hey.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Sorry about that. I'm in a hotel room. It's more complicated.
So, first of all, really nice to see you. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
You're blonde.
I am.
Every time I see you, you look different.
You get a new boyfriend to change your hair.
Oh. That's so true. I was just telling everybody that your daughter's Veronica Swift, and she's performing at the Hollywood Bowl tomorrow night. And who's in her band, or is it her show, or is she? It is. It's her show.
So it's a very exciting time because
wow,
she's finally launching. Her manager's Bobby Colombi, who was manager for Chris Bodie. Of course, she toured with Chris for 3 years. She's still doing some touring, but she opened it. She did the Blue Note with her own band, which was Troy Roberts, James.
Yeah.
It was 3 or 4 horns, plus Chris Whiteman on guitar, plus rhythm section. So she has a 7-piece band now.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And that's been touring in some festivals.
Oh.
And so this is kind of the launch of her new, what she's calling transgenre music.
Oh.
And she's always been into theater, so theater meaning jazz with a theater edge, pop, rock, classical music, so she's putting it all together, and it's a fabulous show. It's very exciting to watch it.
Wow.
Very, very creative.
That's fantastic. Unfortunately, I didn't realize before I booked something else that I'm going to the Catalinas, but I know several people who are going. They're probably going to be blown away.
Hopefully there's several thousand.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It's the Hollywood Jazz Festival. It used to be called the Playboy Jazz Festival.
Yeah.
And it's we're having the rehearsal this afternoon. Anyway, it's going to be fun to watch. It's really.
So wait, is this part of the festival?
Yeah, she's just doing a 1-hour piece. On it, all kinds of bands. So.
Oh. Yeah.
When she gets her own gig at the Hollywood Bowl, you'll hear me screaming.
It's great. Well, that explains why I didn't even kind of look, because I've been disappointed in the Playboy Jazz Festival in the past, like just not what I would call jazz, so I kind
Whatever that is.
Well, that's true. I think, let's see, who was it who said, Gerald Clayton, he said, I just call it free music. I don't call it jazz anymore.
Free? Ew. Free means to me, free means not with the rhythm, and rhythm is what I live for.
I know. Well, there's lots of different words. Sorry?
Gerald's on the gig. He's on the later night thing tomorrow. I hope to get to hear him because he's wonderful.
He's great. He's beautiful.
She's transforming it. Jazz is not really a happening genre, as we knew. So, we do what we can as jazz artists. But I mean, I've been singing. I sang a 20s and 30s show with a PowerPoint thing in a theater. I loved it. I had a ball. It was like rock and roll. It was like completely wasn't nostalgic. It was just like happening, groovy music. And then I've been doing 60s music, which is also groovy and happening. And so I don't hear the oldness in it. I mean, I think it could be old. I mean, I could sing around midnight and make it sound old. I could, I mean, it's how you do it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I did a gig last night, mostly standard, straight ahead, but the band was great, and I jumped in and I was manipulating the melodies, and but still singing the song, and it was fun. It was great. I loved it. I loved it. Yeah,
Well,
totally.
I love your music. Yeah, you're very in the moment, on the stage,
Thank you.
which is what's happening. So I mean, Hod used to tell me, my late husband Hod O'Brien used to say, in the 50s when they went to hear music, they'd come back and they'd say, "Did he have anything to say?" It wasn't, did he play that little stuff really well? It was really technical, or he was really interesting. No, they just said, did he have something to say? So I think that's what it's all about. Your
Yeah.
personal into something that communicates. So.
Yeah, and it's challenging. I mean, as long as we're talking about this, because I wanted to go over some of the people that I heard and played with too, on the East Coast this last 3 weeks. But and I would say that all of them. I mean, it's what you were just talking about, like the ability to be in the moment and fresh. Like you're in the moment and you're. Everything you are, everything you have been is brought forward to this moment, and your delivery is your heart, and then and the music brings it out, and
then you go someplace you never went before.
Yeah,
so,
but I think it's challenging. I think that in itself is the challenge, really, and for teaching too, don't you think?
It's risky business. It's not for the faint of heart. You have to make mistakes and sound messy. And, every band I play, and I never, we rehearse. If I rehearse with any band, it's an hour before the band. It's always a new band. It's always so I don't even know what it's going to sound like. So I throw out songs that, oh, that's not going to work with this guy. This will work. And I change all the time. So I never have a set list that stays the same, which drives my band.
Yeah.
But, you don't know what's going to happen till you're there with the audience and with the mood.
Yeah.
And, anyway.
Yeah, that's so true.
That happened with me this weekend with the Chuck Red and Paul Langosh and Donato Soviero. I didn't know. I know Paul and Chuck, but I know Donato's a great guitar player. So I changed it as we went along.
Yay! Improvisation!
Nobody died.
Nobody died. So true. Joyce Glasgow says, congratulations to Veronica for a remarkable gig. It's great. Okay, well, I actually have a list, and I moved ahead. I even I hardly ever research before for these things, But anyway, I didn't really research, but I prepared. Aren't you impressed, everyone? So, what I thought was you're knowledgeable and you're on the East Coast. And so I thought this would be fun to have you join me in talking about people and, introducing stories and stuff. So, the first band, actually, the first band that I heard when I got there, I went directly to Birdland, which is where I saw you last, because Veronica's gig a few years ago. Anyway, like right from the airport, I went to Birdland. I met Jay Clayton and Early, a great singer and hairdresser, and Ed Newmeister was playing. Yeah, so I want to talk about his band. It was a fantastic band. It was Ed on trombone, Ed Newmeister, Gary Versace on piano, Drew Gress on bass, and Tom Rainey on drums. I had never seen Tom Rainey. Wow.
I haven't either. I really haven't. I've been off the New York scene. Are some of those guys West Coast guys?
No.
No, they're all East Coast, huh?
But Ed
You know,
Newmeister, well, he lived in Europe as well. He
mhm.
might have, feel like he might, well, he definitely visited LA. I don't know if he actually lived here. Maybe we'll see on his, on the discussion. So I'm going to share the screen and I'm going to, talk about, here's Ed Newmeister. Somebody I was with said, oh, he's very handsome. And he is handsome. I first knew about Ed through a pianist named Bevan Manson, who is an East Coast guy too, but lived here for a long, long time. And he's a composer who has a foot in classical and a foot in jazz. Very brilliant. And so they had a composers group that included Ed Newmeister, Michael Patterson, just to name a few people. But Ed Newmeister, you can see here, he's a composer. He's a really great improviser, teacher, and he lives in, I can't remember exactly, but I think it's might be Germany and New York. And here's a great quote. Ed Newmeister is the Picasso of music, testing the grounds of music and in the process creating his own unique style and sound that should not be missed. He's a treasure of the music world, an underrated giant waiting to be discovered. And let's see, he's, been working at music for over 40 years, high-level classical orchestras and ensembles. So he's composed and conducted. And let's see, he worked in the Mel Lewis Jazz Orchestra. That's from Joe Lovano. He's a musician's musician. He worked with Bob Brookmeyer, who's, like the king in jazz, composer and large groups. And let's see, he knows Ellington as well as Bartok. He's worked with Joe Lovano for 4 decades. Dave Liebman, one of the best trombonists in the business, and Jim McNeely. 5 decades, both sides of the Atlantic. Born in 52, so he's not that old. I can say because I was born in 53. And he was raised in the Bay Area. Okay. And let's see.
In LA, you see, I think I'm in LA. Yeah.
What did you say, hon?
He says after a stint in LA. I think that's when I met him in LA, maybe.
Okay. Oh, you're down here. Yeah, and look, he collaborated with Jerry Garcia. Moved to New York in 1980, and he got into the Duke Ellington band as an arranger and a player. And that had a lot of great people in it, Tom Harrell and so on. The Mel Lewis Jazz Orchestra. Oh, and he was 17 years as a professor in Graz, Austria. Yeah, that'll put some hair on your chest. Then he contributed orchestrations to scores, and he's been, so yeah, New York and Europe. He's conducted the Budapest Jazz Orchestra, and he works with Jay Clayton too. So let's see, Jay and the late Fritz Power. Yeah, so he worked with him a lot. So now he added Gary Versace. Do you know Gary, Stephanie?
No, I don't. I've been out of New York a long time. I missed a lot of guys that came back.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was a little bit about him. So let's listen to him. Ed Newmeister. And now this is the quartet that I saw at Birdland, and actually it said premiered March 31st, 2022. So it was this year. Same pianist, Gary Versace, Drew Gress on bass, and Tom Rainey on drums. I'm sure this is one of his compositions. He's a very interesting composer. think 5 minutes is a good amount of time for these. But what do you think, Steph?
I like the way there's a constant theme in it, you know. I mean, sometimes this stuff just goes off into Never Never Land, but there was a constant rhythmic theme that I could be brought back in when it lost me, because
Yeah.
I'm such a square bebop girl, you know. I'm just, it takes a lot for me to hang on to everything. It all sounds interesting, but I want, you know, I want some meat, like a theme. And he
Yeah.
seems very good, really good composer. So you could hear certain things that bring you back. It's like there's a melody in there that keeps bringing you back, which I liked. But that was
Kind of
cool.
a long composition, wasn't it?
I don't know, 7 minutes. I
head.
guess, yeah.
The
I don't
head
know.
was kind of long, yeah. Yeah, and it's definitely leaning more towards improvisation, right? I mean, they're playing, right?
Yeah, I like I mean, this whole organic thing that's going on is fabulous. You know, everybody's allowed to be connected all the time
Yeah.
with the music in a different kind of way, which is a higher. I mean, I thought it was great.
What was that?
I can't do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, really cool. And yeah, and that was the group that I actually saw. And Drew, even though Drew is older now, you know, sometimes these guys cannot they don't have websites or anything.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say about that. You know, I'm always surprised. Like, you don't have a website? You mean you're just depending on other people's, you know, descriptions of you? Anyway, and Drew Kress was one of those people. But he's a great player. I saw him 3 times. I just happened to see him 3 times. This show was the first show, and then after my show at the Soapbox Gallery, Jay and I went to Birdland again, and we saw Mark Copeland, Drew Gress, Joey Barron, and Randy Brecker and Billy Drews.
Oof, ouch.
Yeah, and then lastly, when I was at the Deerhead, the night before I left, Mike Steffens, Drew Gress, Mark Copeland, and Greg Gosby, who I'd never heard of. So anyway, but here's Drew Gress. Drew improvised music. That's what he's known for. And this was a long time ago, but you can imagine he's still doing that. Traveled around the world, served at an artist in residence in Russia and the Paris Conservatory. He's received grants, and I don't know how currently this is, but it is. He lives in New York, and he's, you know, appeared on a lot of recordings.
They probably lived up in Europe, right?
Yeah, yep. And you can see the list of people. I mean, Fred Hirsch, John Hollenbach, Jack DeJohnette, Kenny Werner, Bill Carruthers, etc. He had composition awards as well, which is, you know, that's pretty impressive as well. And he composes for larger groups, so that makes sense that he would play with Ed Neumeister. Now, I'm just going to play a little bit of this because this is a different part that I felt was a little bit more like Ed Neumeister's project, which you could still hear them playing, but here's another one. This is with Paul Kogut, who's a great guitarist. And this is the Days of Wine and Roses. Let's see if we can hear it. One more chorus. Oh, we got to hear one chorus of Drew. Hear that change? Yeah, he's a good guitar player too, huh?
Beautiful. Yeah, I wish the bass had been mic'd more. I mean, I know it wasn't mic'd at all. But
Yeah.
he's a lovely player. I think it's been years since I've heard Drew, but anyway.
Yeah, yeah, he really is a good player. You know, what do you think, like, as a singer and like a musician's type of singer, do you enjoy listening to instrumental music, or would you rather listen to vocal music?
No, I love instrumental music, but I really am prejudiced about wanting to hear a melodic statement, like a story told. So I don't, because I didn't take theory, I didn't go to music school. I'm not as impressed with a lot of wild chord changes. I mean, they're kind of fun to listen, but I don't get it. Theory. Oh, he went to the dimension pinky thing. I don't get a lot of that. But if it's a story, and it's singing to me.
Yeah.
Drew was really singing. He was really playing. I know that there's kind of this, what's a good word? A desire to get away from the cliches, which I think is a great idea. We don't have to always do the cliches of bebop or whatever, but that's part of our language to use or not. But it's still a language that was melodic and told stories. So I guess that's where my bias is towards storytelling and communicating. That's how I communicate, to people that maybe don't speak that more advanced language. I don't speak it myself. I mean, it's not like I don't like a good wild change. I do, but I want it in the context of a storyline rather than just a scale or a Anyway, I think most great jazz musicians do that anyway.
Yeah. Who are some of your favorite instrumentalists?
Well, I mean, I went to 2 concerts of Christian McBride's recently, where he's just so lyrical, and I love, and to have the combination of being a super swinger and heavy, good groover. In addition to that, I tend to sing more with the should we call it the traditionalists? I don't know. I mean, I did gig with Steve Gilmore down in Florida. I mean, and then I do gigs with the beboppers like Dan Miller and in Florida, who are, who have that bebop side of the language.
If you're listening to instrumentalists, though, who might be the ones that you're listening to? Those guys who you're singing with, or?
Yeah, I listen to well, I mean, I love Harry Allen and
oh, Harry Allen's on my list because I heard him at the Deerhead the night before me. Yeah. He is like
and romantic,
good.
And he's on a couple of my albums, and it connects with me, musically, what he does.
He's really great.
Bill Goodwin, I mean, you play. Did Bill play with you at the Deerhead?
Bill Goodwin? No, actually, Mike Steffens did.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah,
yeah, Bill,
yeah,
Bill
I know.
has,
Bill, Bill and I hung out though.
yeah,
It was great. Oh
that was
my
how
God.
that my first album was born at the bar at the Deer Head because Bahad and I were living there. And Bill said, "You need to make an album." I said, "Oh, I couldn't possibly. I've only been singing 8 years. I don't know anything yet." And he said, "Oh, no, 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 it's time. And Phil wants to play on it." And I said, "Bill Woods wants to play my record. Okay, if you say so, but I'm not ready, but whatever." So that's where it was born. Bill
You
produced it.
live there, you said?
Yeah, 8 years.
I had no idea, Steph.
Yeah, we moved out from
Oh my
Manhattan
God.
in '86. Michael Moore had a house in the Poconos. Remember Michael Moore, the bass player?
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, I have a house in the Poconos, cost me 50 grand." And we're like, 50 grand? And we were working in hotels and we had some cash and said, "Wow." And then people said, "Yeah, with a $5,000 down payment, you can, I said, this makes a lot more sense living in Manhattan. It was just an hour commute. And and Andy, other people were moving out there. Of course, it'd always been a jazz, mecca since Bird lived there, and, Duro and Dave Liebman and, Irby Green. And, it's just been always a jazz mecca. So we had a ball there. We did all the festivals, the festival every year, which was always a festival of love. Janet Lawson. And I mean, it
Yeah.
was always a great place to be.
Yeah. That's great. So yeah. Wow.
Did
Okay.
did you have a good Deer Head experience?
I did, and it was kind of mind blowing actually. Just very different, and probably Bill added to my experience. But I mean, we stayed on the fourth floor. No elevator.
No.
And, that added to the experience, and then coming downstairs, and you're in the you're in the jazz club. I mean, it's just wow, it's really
I think
great.
it's the longest existing jazz club in the country now.
I know.
Continuously operating jazz club, but it has a vibe like no other. There's just been so much love there. I mean, I heard Al Cohn and Phil Woods just having a love affair, on the bandstand together. There's just so much beauty there. There's no jive stuff that goes on in the
Yeah.
Pocono. I'm not
Yeah,
not.
the audience was really nice, really respectful and appreciative, and yeah, all
It's a
three nights
sacred
that I was
place.
there.
It's
Really,
where Keith Jarrett studied with John Coates, and
yeah,
there's a whole sacred lineage there.
yeah.
Unfortunately, most of our forefathers are gone, but anyway, still do it.
Well, it's cool. Let's see. Yes, Joyce. Gary Versace is in the band with Jay and Ed. Did Jay sit in that night with Ed? No, she did not. Hi, Mark. I met Ed years ago at the Gen conference. Nice guy and a great player. That's right, Taylor. Hi, Toby. Hi, Nora. Let's see. Yeah. Well, we'll tell you more about the Deer Head as it goes on. Joyce Glasgow wants to hear more about the Deer Head, and we will. We'll tell more. So, okay, let's talk about Tom Rainey, the drummer. He blew my mind. That was the first night. Got there, and it was Ed and Gary Versace and Drew and Tom Rainey on drums. I'd never seen Tom, and he was very impressive to watch and listen to. So I guess he grew up in LA, and then he moved to New York when he was probably 22 or something. And he played with Kenny Werner, Ratso Harris, right? And he met Tim Byrne, who's maverick saxophonist, and Jane Ira Bloom, Fred Hirsch, Andy Laster, and then let's see. Oh, and many featured Drew Gress and Tim Byrne. So he really had a strong relationship with him. And when I went to hear Tom's music, a lot of it is very improvisational. Let's see. So he did lead some bands. Oh yeah, he had a trio with Mary Halverson and Ingrid Laubrock. That was some real out stuff. Laubrock and him, I guess, were married. Let's see. Well, he was playing at the Knitting Factory. We'll just read a little bit about him. Um, this is a Taylor question, Taylor. Do you have any special criteria for picking particular standards to reinterpret? The main criteria was to pick tunes that everyone enjoyed playing and knew by heart, because I wanted the band to feel free, which that is a great thing. With Steph and I both know that because we've been knowing songs since we were young. And as your daughter does too, and that's why part of the reason why she's so mature in her singing. And let's see. Yeah. If you play a Monk composition, it's hard to avoid the power of his musical personality, whereas Stella by Starlight is more of a blank slate. So, yeah, now here's this was the straightest thing I could find. So there's If I Should Lose You or Stella by Starlight. So what do you think?
If I Should Lose You.
Okay. There it is, Steph. The melody.
I'm looking. Woo!
So pretty.
it is.
Wow, and it's live, yeah.
Oh,
Isn't that great? Yeah, it's really beautiful. Wow. Now that's that's one area where I live.
I got the drummer. But and one thing I love about the young players, well, these aren't so young, but I mean, I hear a lot in Veronica's band.
Yeah.
They play with dynamics a lot. I don't know. Maybe bebop didn't because we didn't have microphones. I don't know why exactly, but didn't do it as much. But I like the creating of space and the dynamics and the changing of textures and flavors and colors. All that, it's really good that things don't just sit in one place because they don't in a song, right? So Veronica just texted me the names of the guys in the band. You want to know?
Sure. So let me just repeat what's happening. So
Oh yeah.
tonight, Saturday night, Veronica Swift, one of the up and coming rising stars of jazz singing, who happens to be Stephanie's daughter, is playing in LA at the what was previously called the Playboy Jazz Festival,
Yeah.
and now it's called the Hollywood.
You want to see what's outside my window? I don't know if you
Yeah.
can you see this?
Oh, my favorite, the Minions.
He's right outside my window staring at me.
That's funny. That is so funny. Those guys are my pals.
LA, baby.
They just make me laugh so much.
You can't go anywhere without like a movie poster. Someone had asked about who she's playing with. So so Adam Kipple is on piano. He played with Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And Alex Claffey from New York on bass. Brian Viglione on drums, the drummer that she's been using. He's with the Dresden Dolls drummer. James Sarno on trumpet. Chris Whiteman on guitar. Troy Roberts, also a New York guy, on saxophone. And yeah, I think that's it. Did I get them all? Yeah, it's anyway. So that's, somebody asked about that.
I'm excited to hear her music now.
It's like she has a different concept about, I don't know if you saw I bring this up in context of what you're playing, what's happening with jazz. It's free to move now. I think
Yeah.
when I came in the 80s, it was like, first of all, cabaret and jazz never touched.
Yeah.
I got into one or two cabaret rooms. I had to do the patter. I had to, not improvise so much. And very few cabaret singers came into the jazz world. Now I teach tons of them about swing and improv and all that.
Yeah.
And the same thing with pop and rock. I mean, you had to be really, even with jazz, 1935 was a cutoff. You were before that, you were a trad player. If you played after Benny Goodman 35, you were then into the swing and then the beboppers. And I remember Jim Cullum telling me, don't scat, like Louis Armstrong didn't scat. Anyway, it was very weird. Like everybody had their little club, which club they were in. So I'm glad that the barriers are breaking down more. And I love that. If I should lose you, that's such a great line to use.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Just
It's a
feel
beautiful song. Yeah.
And I heard. I heard that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's really beautiful. And each player, has a beautiful voice. I've told my students that, I'll give everybody an elastic, right? And the one of the ends of the elastic will be wrapped around a pencil. And then each person has their own end, right, of their own elastic. So here's the song. The song's time is this. It's constant. And the song is moving, with the time. And each person, the piano player, the vocalist, the drummer, whomever, can do whatever they want, but the other end is always attached to the song. And this example of this music was like that. You heard everybody doing their own thing, but they're always connected to the song. And that's kind of what makes the magic whole,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't do it, but I like when they change the tempo. That's really hard to do. I mean, you have to actually do that. But Betty Carter would do it all the time. But just the idea that you could, like in classical music, slow down and speed up a song, that's hard to do with a trio or any ensemble.
Yeah.
You can do it a duo a little bit more, but I don't experience that very much in what I get to do. But I like to hear it done. It's very exciting.
Yeah, but I can appreciate what you said about the dynamics. I agree. that is so true. That you hear in more modern days, the dynamics are there. I mean, look at that song had space, right? Like they'd stop and then
Yeah.
they'd come back in. I mean, it's great.
And you have to, at the end of the song, you should know what the song was about. You know,
Yeah.
it's a sad song. If I should lose you, stars. Well, it's not really sad because
It's kind of
haven't lost.
longing, right?
Like, don't leave me. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you assume they haven't lost the person yet.
Yeah.
But it's like, don't leave, because everything would fall apart.
Yeah.
It's pleading. It's, you know, so I always try to get my singers to feel like an actor would. Set your stage. What do you feel about this song? And it should be different for everybody. You know, obviously you're not going to say this is the happiest song ever written because it doesn't feel that way. It's that very minor sound. But still, you should have your own plot, your own paint. The way you paint it should be different. Maybe different every night.
Exactly. And partly it's because like we were saying before, the art of singing is communication. You're I mean, for all instruments, but especially the singer, because we have lyrics too, but we're communicating something. And that kind of, it's the solvent, you know, that fixes everything and that brings the vibe into the audience, everything. It's the communication. You have to be really brave, like you said before. I forget what you said, how you put it, but yeah, it's not for, you know.
I don't think the song is finished until it's heard. You know what I mean? You know, it's not like you practice it at home, and the studio is very incomplete in that way, because the studio, that's why live recordings are so much better. It's not, you're not getting a response to what you're doing. All this streamline, you know, thing we did during the pandemic where we're singing to a camera, was not rewarding. The music wasn't as good.
I heard that so much. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I can sing a song. It can be really good, but it's better when there's a response, you know, and that's where go back to the Deerhead. They respond, they get it. New York. I go to New York, not to make money, but you know, you go to New York because the audience is so hip there. They bring it out of you. They make you do it. They don't let you get away with, oh, here's a show I've done 5,000 times. No, you have to, and I love that. You know, I want to be brought up, you know, all the time. So, yeah.
It's cool. Okay. I'm
happy.
What'd you say, honey?
I'm glad we agree on everything.
Let's see. We have a few comments. Let's see. The minion is spying on you through your window. It is. Michael Welch says Veronica swings, scats, the whole package, and she is very good. Heard her here in Orlando. I'm not sure if he's talking about Veronica or you, because you've sung in Orlando, right?
Yeah. She has a close relationship with Jeff Rupert, who is the head of the jazz program there. And she's actually been on his album, and so she goes through there quite a bit. I've sung with Jeff too, but I think he's probably talking about Veronica.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my name, Mrs. Swift.
Right. You know, one thing that impresses me more than anything, you'll understand. Like when I heard her last at Birdland, which was a few years ago, her skill is so great, and her ability to be in the moment is so great, and her musicianship is so high. But what killed me was the ballads. Because, you know, when a singer sings a ballad, you can really see.
That's true.
See what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't fake it.
No, you cannot. You cannot.
And
So
I
anyway.
used to have people. I had good audiences that would come up and say, "More, come on, put more into it." They wanted everything out of that ballad. They didn't want 90%. I tended to sing in the earlier days. I think I'm improving, a little safe, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're talking, by the way, to your listeners. We're talking about this not to promote me or Veronica. We're trying to share, you know, what's organic or organically important. Your question that someone asked about what standard to pick. Of course, it has to be one that you really connect with, right? One that really. But then you said, as as I agree, it has to be something, shouldn't be something that's super hard and super complicated and arranged and everything. Just something you can deliver that has some room. That's why these standards are great. They have room to be interpreted, which a lot of contemporary songs don't have. Don't have.
And their bones are so good, they have these beautiful melodies and great structure. And it's not just the lyrics, it's that too together. It's a beautiful combination of what you can connect to, and relate to.
I hear Cole Porter every time I sing a Cole Porter song. I hear more wild stuff in the harmony. I was like, really? Really?
Yeah.
Playful, though. I like the playful I must say, I like the playful nature of jazz. I like that there's a fun.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it to get too serious, and too. Everything was minor mode for a while, and I was doing a '60s show, and everything's in major keys. We're singing even like "Bye Bye Love," "Bye Bye Happiness." It's like a sad song. It's all in major. If it had been done today, it'd be like "Bye Bye Love."
Do you know Pensativa?
Oh yeah, I don't sing. Yeah,
that song always kind of blew my mind when I got the lyrics. I got them from Claire, and I was like, lyrics are so sad, and the song, the music is not really sad. It's ba ba da da dum dee dee da da ba da da. I mean, that's like light, right?
Who wrote the lyrics?
As with each new dawn, sun is giving the breath of day, and warms the cold from night. Well, this part of the lyric is okay, but anyway, it goes on to say that you've lost your love, and your love is not the same as before, and you sit pensive and lost. That's kind of the idea of this song, but it's the melody is really, it does not call for that. It's always challenging for me to lose the cheeriness.
Well, I like the beauty in the music. I like beauty. I don't mind a sad song, but I like that there's a hope in it, that there's a beauty, that there's something to be gained, just like depression, suicide, and pills. So, I always say to Veronica, she's so serious, and she's serious, and she has a playful nature too, but she says, "Mom, you're so optimistic all the time." And I'm like, yeah, I guess I tend to be that. I said, but you should be more realistic. And so there's a balance,
I agree with you so much. And that's actually what I love about singing ballads, finding this quality of, it's not total loss. It's never total loss. There's some element of hope in it. And to bring it forth, I enjoy that a lot. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a different world these days, different generation. Some of the songs my college students sing, they're just so depressing. Like there's no hope at the end of it. It's all, the train is off the track and it's never coming back. And it's, I get it. I mean, I love that they feel it, and I love expressing their emotions, but, I sing a song, I think, as you said, communicating, and you don't want the audience running out of the room, like crying. And saying, I got to get out of here.
Right.
I mean, they tend to be uplifted,
Oh my God. Let's see. Yeah, Dan, my friend Dan DeVilla's showing, he gave us a link to Veronica doing the Blue Note at Bitter Earth, or doing Bitter Earth, yeah. Talk about a bitter, yeah.
Oh, you want to hear? I shouldn't photo.
Yeah, no, don't. Well, you're listening. The whole world is listening.
No, she's told it matter of fact, we're in the hotel where we stayed for the Monk competition, and it's right around the corner from the Dolby Theater. And so after the first, semifinals, she hadn't planned for what song she was going to do if she got to the finals. So we said, I don't know. And she had just had this Paris bombing or something, was really depressing. And I said, maybe it's time to do something like the Bitter Earth. She didn't know it. She learned it. And later, Rosanna Vitro came up to me and said, how could you let your daughter go on stage at the Monk competition and sing a song she didn't know? I said, well, she knew it. She learned it. she got it, you know. But it was funny because it was just spontaneous that that was the song she was supposed to sing at that moment. So yeah, that's. But check out. Sorry, but you know the song. Speak about bad lyrics. Duke Ellington's lyrics. I mean, he didn't write them. You know, he had this publisher write them half the time. But the song "Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me." What a beautiful song, right?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And then the lyric is at the very end, and you never will. You know, I mean, what does that mean? Like, am I happy about it? And then at the very end saying, no, no, you're never gonna. It just, I never got how to sing. So she puts an electric guitar on it, just with this distortion pedal, and Chris Whiteman's playing. And she comes out, do nothing till you hear from me. And she's doing like Janis Joplin meets Duke Ellington. And it's fantastic. It's like,
Wow.
oh, different way of looking at it.
Yeah. That's really wild. You know what song I could never understand? And I mean, I say that. I do get it, but I could never attach myself to it. It's a Small Day Tomorrow?
Ah, yeah.
I never attached myself in there. I don't know.
You probably never had a small day, Cathy.
That's it. Okay.
Maybe after COVID we could do it. I have nothing to do. Have you ever had nothing to do? I've never had nothing to. Matter of fact, I went on this trip so I could have 2 days of nothing to do but sit by the pool. But I think it has it depends who you are, right? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
It's a beautiful song, but I agree with you. I don't think I've ever had a small day. But
yeah, I mean,
Joyce,
Joyce,
oh, your life is so interesting. You're so busy, and I'm like, yeah. Day when anyway.
Joyce Glasgow, she said that you mentioned your students singing songs where the train went off the rails, depressing, no happy ending. Just wondering what songs she thinks are like that.
Which songs are like that? Almost every pop song that they come to me with.
Pop songs. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Amy Winehouse stuff. They come with pop songs. Yeah, although they like Black Coffee, and so I'm saying, okay, before we start, I'm going to talk to you about the lyrics and the bridge, and you tell me whether you're okay with that. I sit by my home, tending my oven, waiting for my Havey to come home. Okay, if you're cool with being that kind of woman, or you want to make a spoof, or you want to make a spoof, those women, that's cool. But make sure you understand what kind of woman that is, and you decide. But and some of them go, oh, I never thought of that.
Just while we're talking about this, for people who don't know the lyrics, so can you recite the lyrics? I can. So she's sitting by.
A man is born to go a wandering. A woman's born to weep and fret, to stay at home and tend her oven, and drown her past regrets in coffee and cigarettes. So,
There's another one like that. What's the one? Girl Talk.
Why change the lyrics to that?
Didn't I see Veronica do that song?
I don't know. She might have taken my lyric. I made it boy talk, and I made it sexist in the other one.
I think she did that, and it was definitely like a whole different spin.
But it's still sexist. It's just reverse sexism. And then I took the other side of Undecided, and I made it a descant, so my boyfriend and I can sing it together. Because again, it's like, you're undecided, you're sitting on the fence, and you're not helping me. And the other guy saying, well, you know what, it wasn't working, and you're not being straight either. And so I made it into I gave the other side of it. It's only fair.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Getting back to the musicians that I saw. Yeah. Jim Riddle. Do you know Jim, Steph?
I don't think I've met him, but I know who he is.
He is not only a prince of a guy, but he's so good at piano. Oh my God. He was, so when I, the gig I did in New York was at the Soapbox Gallery, which if those of you listening who haven't tapped into the Soapbox Gallery, you really need to do that. Because, there's so many people playing there who are wonderful. And the gallery is an art gallery, Jimmy Greenfield's art gallery in Brooklyn. And you can go in and watch the show, and I highly recommend it because it's a fantastic room. And so I had, as I say, Paul Jost's band. I had Jim Riddle on piano and Dean Johnson on bass and Tim Horner on drums. And Tim and I, well, actually, Tim and Dean and I went to Berkeley together 3,000 years ago. Anyway, Jim Riddle, thanks, Joyce. Jim Riddle, here we go. He's obviously a big teacher. He composes, arranges, and he plays with Dave Liebman and the Mingus Big Band. I don't know this. Zimo Tebar's Ivam Jazz Ensemble of Spain and Tim Horner's. He's recorded a number of CDs. He was a visiting jazz artist at Princeton. Let's see, Lincoln Center, and he played with Pat Martino. Yeah. And all these wonderful people, Randy Brecker, Mark Johnson, James Moody. I mean, if you bring up any great player and you're going to see a list like this, but it doesn't make it any less terrible. It's wonderful. He's received commissions. He was the Art Tatum Scholarship Artist in residence at the University of Toledo. And he grew up in North Dakota. Okay, so I got this one. This is actually at the Soapbox Gallery. And this is just solo, him. Blues is free, composed and performed by Jim Riddle. Oh, wow. Yep, that's some of Jim Riddle.
Woo!
He's
How
so
fast can
talented. And you know what else is really good about him as a singer? He was, well, the whole band was so supportive. They had my back totally, and they asked all the right questions before we started. You know, when we looked at the music, and it was really great. They were really wonderful. Um, yeah, you can also live stream the Soapbox Gallery shows. Absolutely. And you know, I skipped over Gary Versace. So I want to show Gary Versace. He was with Ed Newmeister, and he's great. The first time I think I heard him, he was with Kate McGarry, and he's he's brilliant and he's musical and apparently teaches at Eastman. So he came from Connecticut. Oh yeah, he's an organist, which I don't even know if I've heard him, and an accordionist. Yeah. Um, Works with Schofield, Maria Schneider, John Abercrombie, Anat Cohen, all these wonderful people, John Hollenbeck, Ralph Alessi, Kurt Elling, Madeline Perot, Ingrid Jensen. He has several CDs. He received a Grammy nomination in 2019 with Kate and Keith. Oh, the subject tonight is love. That was great. And, you know, just so many beautiful people. Bill Stewart. Sorry.
I loved Vic Juris. He was from.
Oh, I know. He was such a great person and guitarist. Wow. Yeah, appears annually in the Downbeats Critic and Reader polls. Jazz journalists, best instrumentalist, and organist. Yeah, he's a really great player. And here he is at Smalls in New York. I'm jumping over here because Joyce said that this, let's see, was really great. Oh, but he's talking about, I'd have to go look for it, Joyce, the one with, oh, here's Kate too, with Gary. Oh, what the heck? Let's just listen a little bit. Keith Gantz, great guitarist. Whew. Now you can hear Gary a little differently.
Come gather around me whenever you roll, and admit that the waters around you will grow. Accept that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, well, you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone. For the times, they are
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, that was, yeah. Playing them together is really, really great.
Organic. It's more organic nowadays.
Yeah, it is.
It's not structured. Jazz keeps trying to tear down structure, which is really a good thing to do. It's like, I was a 60s child, and that's what we just kept wanting to tear down structure, rules and say you can't do that, and these people are like this and these people are like that, and we just kept trying to tear it down. I think it's a good thing to do. I mean, not tear everything that's down that's good, but challenge structure and say let's see what happens if we go, when I'm improvising and I can almost feel myself going down that same road that's so comfortable, just take a turn. I can almost feel it. I'm going,
Yeah.
Where the heck am I going? I'm going to take this road, and all of a sudden I'm on a dirt road that has no signs, and
Yeah.
you feel that when you're improvising, that you're taking turns someplace a little dangerous, that you
Yeah, that's the best when you're free, right? And you're not, part of your mind wants to go on the safe side, but you're kind of going, no, I think I'll go this way.
it's a mistake.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
but of
no
course,
mistake. Okay. All right.
yeah. But the mistakes generally, become something else, right? And so
That's experience teaches you to do that, doesn't it?
you have to go there, or else you don't know how to get out of it,
Exactly.
right? You don't have faith that you can get out of it.
I think that's the number one thing I teach, so to speak, is just helping people to experience their voice and see where it will lead them, even if they don't have an idea where that is. Because you can't teach it in a book and you can't train it, but you can encourage people to try it. So
It's philosophy.
Yeah.
It's definitely philosophy.
Life coaching.
It is life coaching.
So
My brain kind of went to today's news when you said tear down the structure. I won't spend time on this. I talked a little bit about it before you got on, but I was actually crying a bunch this morning because, and I just listening and watching and thinking, it's hard to believe. And I really liked Biden's speech. Did you happen to see Biden's speech?
Oh no, I didn't hear it.
It was really good. He definitely really felt what he said, and he covered so many different things. And he also said that what we need to do, he thought it was disgusting what happened. And he said what we need to do is actually make Roe versus Wade a federal law. And how we do that is actually get Congress to vote it into a federal law. It just gives me the creep.
I think, if I can be philosophical, my mother used to always talk about find the balance, find the middle place. And it seems country just keeps going from one extreme, and then it swings back and takes the other extreme, and it goes, swings back. And like it keeps forgetting that there's a place in the middle where maybe somebody's saying something that makes sense out of that argument, which I don't quite get. But, you have to find out if they're really concerned with preventative stuff in mental health. Let's attach that, but doesn't mean you throw everything away.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to be sensible, and I just don't like the way we're made to be extremists, which it doesn't need to be that way. Common sense is pretty radical in its own way. It's just everybody say, oh, I see your point in that. Yeah, it's not quite how I see it, but I could see how that might work. Yeah, I'm willing to try that. And,
Well, they always, there's that saying, you don't talk about politics or religion, but that's exactly what you should talk about. My husband always says that. That's the stuff you should talk about. And just because you have a different point of view doesn't make it right or wrong, or me right or wrong. It's discussion,
It's very important to listen and hear it. And I'm not sure we're very good at communicating. But anyway, it's not as interesting as explosions all the time. Extreme ideas get little sound bites that, like that big eye. That's a very big eye. Very not subtle. But we're talking about piano players. May I just mention something? I'm sorry to change the subject.
No, that's good. Go ahead.
We could do a whole thing on that. But I am amazed at how many extreme ideas in jazz end up agreeing on the stage. Some of the musicians I don't talk politics with, because they're just really extreme and aside. And so we just talk music and we agree. But Veronica, you were talking about who inspires me. Some of these young pianists that are coming out now. Matthias, have you heard Matthias Picard? Brilliant.
Yeah.
Sullivan Fortner, Julius Rodriguez. They're so caring in the way they play, and they're so interesting in a musical and connected way, not just in their own, here's what I did in my studio and I want you to hear it. So I'm happy. And Emmett,
he's wonderful, and I love what he's doing. Did you happen to hear Mary Stallings with him?
No. When was that?
He's on his show, and I think they did some shows in New York, like at Birdland. So the young band and her, it was incredible. She's amazing anyway. She's like plucked out of the old era, but she's alive now, and she's, active. And then with Emmett and those guys, and she totally was digging it, man. It was wonderful.
Yeah, they bring a whole, every band you play with brings a whole different conversation. That I remember when I played with Bill Mays, we started on one track, and he would leave me. Sometimes he would leave me, sometimes I would leave, but he would lead me to this other thing that all of a sudden we're in this R&B kind of place. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool. I love this place. Because he's got everything, everything in there. But that's is seeing what someone has to bring to the table, And you want an instrumentalist to bring it to the table.
Absolutely.
So that's all good.
So there was this guy in Boston who I played with at a house concert, and Doug Johnson, and he's a teacher at Berkeley, and he does body mapping. He's actually licensed in body mapping, and he is a founding member of the Berkeley Performance Wellness Institute, and he went to New England Conservatory. She gave me a few choices of pianists, and Chris Adams. And when I heard him, really dug it. So he does body mapping, Alexander technique. And he's played with a whole bunch of people, Esperanza, Luciana, Phil Woods, Terry Lynn, Jerry Bergonzi, etc. And he's here's a little bit playing Stella by Starlight. Yeah. So that's some of Doug. He played really beautifully. I really enjoyed working with him. It was really nice. And I wanted to, I'll just go along the piano line here. Mark Copeland. He's a genius. He's like, somebody was saying to me, he's like Chick Corea died, and Mark Copeland is basically the guy. I mean, it was their opinion, but he used to be a sax player, and let's see, sideman with Gary Peacock, John Abercrombie for years. He's really an interesting player. He's it's interesting singing with him because he's more on the outside, he studied with Lenny Tristano, and if you're playing a little bit differently than you did a year or two ago, then something good is happening.
Ask you something, Cathy?
Yeah.
When the more modern guys, I say that compared to like a lot of the guys I like to play with who play the traditional chords of the tune, when they throw in a harmony, you're scatting along, right? And they throw a harmony in that's like, it totally doesn't go with what you're singing. And it's a different concept. I mean, if you know the guy well or the girl, you can, like Matt Baker, I sing with Matt Baker, he does that, but I know him now well enough that I can sort of find some wild places that I think he might go. But it's tricky, right? I mean,
definitely tricky. It's that was the first time I sang with Mark, and Steve Laspina was on bass, was a lot more the solid guy that I was listening to, and Mike Steffens was gorgeous. He played the drums so beautifully. And Mark, like what you just said, probably if I played with him enough, it would gel more. But what I was doing, and I think what he expects musically, what I was doing was what I was doing. It's exactly what I feel like doing. If it's the melody, it's the melody. If it's not the melody, it's not the melody. And he's doing the same thing. It's like what I was talking about before with the Elastic Band. We're following the same song in the same time, but we're doing what we want to do. Like Weather Report. That was where I got that idea from anyway. Weather Report was one of the first groups that didn't like mimic You know, it's like the drummer didn't mimic what the piano player was doing. He did totally his own thing, but they were still playing the same song. So it gave this image of space, you know, but still you were still in the same song, but there was space. So that's my experience. I mean, but
you have to feel the chord changes, right? I mean, let's say you want to play.
You have to know what you're doing. Yeah.
If your idea of the harmony is different from his idea, I mean, as an accompanist, he is supposed to adjust his harmony to follow you and not say, well, I like this chord while you're playing one that really doesn't work with it. I mean, there are things that don't work together. I mean, not everything sounds good with everything.
No, I think I don't know about that for sure. I think that there are special situations and players that you expect from that, and it's beautiful when that happens. You know, like a straight, like Ross Tompkins was like that. I recorded a duo record with him. He was an accompanist when he was with a singer. That's what he did. He accompanied me, and it was beautiful, and it was, you know, solid but free, but it was solid, you know. But Mark, you know, no, definitely. I mean, but that was a trio. Maybe as a duo, it would be different too. I don't know, you know. But this is
the bass becomes the rock, becomes the thing that holds it together.
Yeah. Here's a little bit of him playing I've Got You Under My Skin, and you can kind of see, you know. He's a gentle person. It's a great song for this format, isn't it?
Fantastic.
Beautiful. Really gorgeous, right? Ugh.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for that. That was beautiful.
Yeah. So that's Mark Copeland. He's I mean he's very out, but he's got a beautiful flow, you know. It's just
I hear that. I hear the song in there, you know.
yeah. Really, really beautiful. Speaking of piano players, I'm going to try and find the guy I heard with Harry Allen, because Harry Allen was there the night before. I had interviewed him, so it was nice. But his name is John D. Martino.
Oh
But
yeah.
he has played with Jay. So I'm wondering if there might be anything with Jay on there.
He's one of the top New York accompanists. He's
Yes.
on his top call, yeah.
Oh.
He rented my house once.
He went to your house? Is that what
He
you said?
rented my house in the Poconos once. It
Oh, that's cool.
was funny because he's such a city guy. He wouldn't mind me telling the story. And he hadn't been in this country. He's a city boy. So he called me, he said, is there supposed to be an outside light? Because I did have a floodlight, you know, because you get out when you go to the country at night, and he'd come back at night from a gig, you know, there was dark. So I didn't have automatic light. He's a wonderful accompanist. He's wonderful.
Where is he from?
Good question.
Is he
I want to
from?
say up in New York. No, he's not in New York. He's not originally a New Yorker. Let's look in his biography.
Martino, piano. Yeah. Let's see. What does it say about John DiMartino? It says bio. Let's see. He lives in New York City. He almost sounded like he had an accent to me. That's why I asked. But maybe not. I don't know. This is supposed to be his bio, but I don't see really a bio. So,
I'll look him
but
up.
yeah, let's see. So, let's see what he put on a video. Did he put some video stuff on here? Let's see. Videos.
You know who I've loved being with lately? Ted Rosenthal. I've been having just a love affair with his playing. He's just beautiful, just amazing player. I did a couple of gigs in New York with him.
We could hear this. This is Roberta Gambarini and John. Let's see.
With me, and every place we chance to be will be our rendezvous. Too far the road we'll travel down the years, collecting precious memories, selecting souvenirs, and living life the way we please. In summertime, the sun will shine. In winter, we'll drink summer wine. And every day that you are mine will be smile. I know that we'll be two for the road, and that's our love.
Yeah, he's a beautiful accompanist, isn't he?
Yeah. Yep.
Look who says hi. Bill Goodwin.
Hey, Bill, baby.
Bill Goodwin, man. I wanted to hang out longer, man. It was really fun to see you. Yeah. And yeah, I wonder if I can bring up my little Harry Allen thing, because I saw Harry at the Deer Head. Let's see.
I'm really sorry I wasn't on the East Coast when you were on the East Coast, or I wasn't in New York.
Oh,
It would have been fun to hang out.
would have been totally fun. Let's see if I think this was let's see. Yep.
There it is.
Let's see if it plays. Oh. Ah. You sing this song, don't you, Steph? Do you sing this song? Lover, Come Back to Me?
I've done it once. I don't know
Really?
that I don't know why I have. Because I never lost a lover.
Well, that makes sense.
No, I mean, I have to relate to the song.
I can see you singing this song.
I like to do fast ones. Harry called me up he was doing something in Sarasota and with 4 saxophones, 4 brothers.
Yeah.
I was in the audience and he called me up, oh, my favorite singer, come up. And so he called, I don't know, not Cherokee, some fast, it might have been this song that he called.
Yeah.
Super fast, and then I'm supposed to scat with all these, great guys. So I did. I got away with it. And they put it in the newspaper. The 4 brothers and a sister.
That's
He
great.
would call the song I don't know and the key I don't know and fast, super fast, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Like this, I had to scat with Bobby McFerrin on Joy Spring, and he left me with the bridge, and then he decided to remove the rhythm section while I was scatting it. So I tried, and I did pretty well, and then I realized I was really going to get lost without hearing the rhythm section. So I started doing my trombone, of course. It's a lot of applause, and Bobby looked at me like, "Oh,
I know what you did. Yeah.
got."
Hey, there's going over to Billy Drew's, who I saw. So Jay and I went to Birdland to see Mark Copeland and Drew Grass on bass and Joey Barron on drums and Randy Brecker, and it was supposed to be Dave Liebman, but Dave got COVID. So they got Billy Drew's, and Billy Drew's, he's going to be on the show in August, but Billy Drew's, I'm just going to play it. I'm going to play some of Billy Drew's instead of looking at his his whole thing, but wow, he is such a great player. Woo! And this is one of my favorite songs, Louisa by Jobim. So this is Cliff Corman on piano. Wow. Well, it's just one of the most gorgeous songs, and he plays beautifully.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Plus, he's an adorable guy. You look at him, and his face is so alive and beautiful.
Mm.
Oh, so I think it would be nice to listen to you. How do you like Too Many Tears? Can we play
Oh.
that?
My music? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Sure. Why not? I'll close my ears.
Too Many Tears.
I think this has Victor.
Stephanie Nakasian. It has what?
Oh no, this is from the this is the oh this is no, that's from the album. Okay. The album is even better.
The Blues series. Today we're joined by.
Oh, do you want to do the album?
Yeah, because then you have Vic Juris, this girl.
Okay. So
I mean, it's a really nice. It's got it's got really. It's not a vision. Well, it's not a video. I know we're on.
is it on YouTube?
No, it's not a YouTube. It's just a. It's the bittersweet. It's that.
This one?
Yeah. Does it have? Do you have to have a? Yeah. Do you have to have a video? Mm.
No, but
Okay.
but if this is like a licensing thing, they might take it down
Why?
because that's what YouTube does.
Oh. Well then, okay. We can play the live one. It's okay.
Okay.
It's good. The series I did. Never mind. I hate that. Never mind.
To have a good old-fashioned cry once in a while isn't so bad. Oh, when you've had that little cry, then you can smile, you can be glad. But when there's too much sorrow, you know that there is bound to be too many tears. Each night I go to bed, I lie awake and shed too many tears. I care a lot, what have I got? Too many tears, too many years. I wasted loving you, and you know I was true. Too many years. Your memory is bringing me too many tears.
Love that lyric.
You know, I should have found a new love. And don't you think I didn't try? Well, I found lots of number two loves. They never seem to satisfy.
did it.
Years. That's a great song. What song?
Yeah. I forget who wrote it. I should know that, shouldn't I? Yeah.
It's an old blues. Is that what it
No.
is?
Yeah, it's not really a blues. I forgot about it. It says it on there somewhere. Too many albums ago.
Let's see. Let me see if it says who wrote it. Nope, doesn't say. Anyway, we are
Matt Baker,
at,
Carl Kimmel, by the way.
yes, I did see that.
And I've lost weight since that horrible video.
Oh gosh.
Anyway.
Anyway, so Stephanie is in LA to see her daughter, Veronica Swift, performing at the previously known Playboy Jazz Festival, which is now the Hollywood Jazz Festival, and Veronica's performing on Saturday. And
Hollywood Bowl, going bowling.
you're going to be backstage or in front of the stage?
No, I want to be in the audience. I love seeing her.
Yeah, that's great. Well, congratulations on that, and thanks for coming and hanging out with me.
Cathy, I love it, and I love being with your gang too. Thank you for doing all that you're doing for music and for singers and everything. I know it's a labor of love, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to the East Coast. Come back.
I will when you're there too.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you that if you missed my gig last night, oh, too bad. I'll be back at Casey's in the Valley for I don't know, in a month or something. But next week I'll be over at the conference room on Saturday, the 2nd, with my monthly gig and jam session. See, I have a jam session again, but it's only once a month. I just couldn't take it anymore once a week. Next week, the live guests are Kenny Lee Lewis, who's guitar player with I forget. It's not jazz. But it's the coolest. Oh gosh, now I'm gonna have to go look. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on, Kenny Lee Lewis. Let me just see where I put that. His just so you know, he's had a long career and it's been really great. Kenny Lee Lewis. I know. I didn't actually put it up yet. So I'm looking for Kenny Lee Lewis. And here we go. Just to give people an idea of who's on next week. Kenny Lee Lewis is, he's a bassist actually, and a singer-songwriter. And he played with longtime Dave Mason. He's written for too. He's written for Steve Miller, Dave Mason, Meatloaf, Boz Scaggs, Stephen Stills, Quincy Jones, B.B. King, and he played with Stevie Ray Vaughan. So that kind of thing. Pretty great, pretty fun. So that is Monday and Tuesday. The great jazz bass player Chuck Berghofer. You're familiar with him?
Oh, yeah, we played together. I love him.
He's great, and he's played for absolutely everybody. And he's credited with the bass line for the Barney Miller show. Bum, da 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 da. Right? Yeah. I think he also did These Boots Are Made for Walking. I think he was like the main bass player on that. But I mean, there was a line in there that was popular. And then a really great singer on Wednesday from Seattle, Gail Pettis. Do you know her?
I don't.
You'd love her. She's so beautiful. She's
Is she from the Northwest?
Yeah.
Portland or Seattle?
Seattle.
I think I met her when I was out there. Yeah, with Nick Anderson's.
Yeah. She would have been with that. Yeah, she's really good. She's just beautiful sound, beautiful singer. So that next week, that's my live people. And yep, you can always find out who's on by going to my website. And again, thanks, Stephanie Nakasian.
I'm still trying to figure out who wrote Too Many Tears. My My phone isn't even telling me.
Well, you know, Siri.
It's on my album, but my album's out of print. So
Oh,
the first one was Bittersweet, and then they reissued it as If I Ruled the World. But anyway, it's on there somewhere.
okay. All right.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for sharing.
Thanks for coming on and have a great time with the whole show and everything.
I will. I'll be proud, Mama.
Okay.
Thanks. Love, love. Thanks.